the normal tax exemption, additionally, his disability exemption. She was able to get him through that entire process, and then he refinanced because for some reason, and I don't remember the story, he had to purchase at a higher interest rate and was able to get down to super, super low. I mean, this guy will send her leads for the rest of her life. He was like, he couldn't say thank you. I can't believe I didn't know about this. You literally just saved me hundreds of dollars a month, thousands over the course of a year from a lead generation phone call, right? So you've got great opportunity. I don't want you to miss it, because once we get through the end of that, I mean, I will tell you, does anybody remember the year that we had the energy rebate? Was that what it was called?
The first year I wasn't eligible for PhD.
Well, I don't remember what it's called. I don't remember what it's called because that was the year that I forgot to file.
Was it double?
For myself and 3 children. And, you know, our dividend goes to college funds. So now I'm paying the price. And that was the year, yeah, it worked out to about, it was like 1,300 and another 1,200. It was like, it was right at $3,000, somewhere in there. What was it?
27.
27, 28, somewhere in there. Like, a lot more than what I got, which was a big fat 0. From then on, one of my very dear friends that I used to, Mona Hundrup, that I worked for at the daycare, called me every year, once in January, once in February, once in March. She put it on her calendar. Did you get it done? Did you get it done? Did you get it done? And now I do it all the time, and I'll tell you what, do you think I ever resented her picking up the phone and calling me for that? No, I was like, oh, thank God I have a mother. Or wife, I need one. It was just amazing. So there you've got all kinds, I mean, no one's gonna get mad at you. Don't miss these opportunities to pick up the phone and call your database. And it's an easier call than, hi, it's Jen, I'm just calling to say, do you know anyone who wants to buy a home, sell a home, or invest in real estate? It's totally coming from contribution. Yes, go ahead.
Well, that's what I was going to say, is I suck at those other scripts, and we have proof of that with my conversion rates on them. But I laid out a piece of butcher paper, and I took the 12 months, and I went, okay, what can I talk to people in which times? What's going to be an email? What's going to be a mailer? What's going to be a phone call? And I laid out the entire year. And if you do that in, you know, November, December, when you're not as busy as you'd like to be, then there's no excuses for it, because you just know I'm going to come into work in January and this is what I'm going to call on.
You're
I'm going to
planning?
come into work. I know me, right?
Do you run a business?
Yeah. I have systems too. So you just plan it out. You know, you set all of those emails, because we have this thing called e-edge. You can set it and forget it. We won't get into that right now. But you can do that. You can set up your mailers. You have send out cards. I mean, there's all sorts of ways to do it so that you are working your database, you know? And then, by the way, now I don't have to go and make those cold calls.
And you have the system in place, because it's really not going to change that much year over year.
Nope.
Because most of these items are built around annual, I mean, the tax exemption date is the same as it is every single year. The dividend is the same as it is every single year. I wish they would change taxes, but they're not going to. So those things are all there. Yes, sir.
One follow-up on the tax exemption. You should go to the city's website, the munis website, and download that, put it in a file so that, say,
You have it right there.
If you don't have it, I know you don't have it, and you look on their tax thing, you don't have it, then yeah, you just email it to them, and that's sweet for them.
They love you for that. And you're doing a service for your client. I mean, you're helping them. There's money they're leaving on the table right there that they don't need. They're flushing it down the toilet. So, and I want to piggyback on what you said. Right? Is anybody feeling busy right now? Is anybody feeling like, holy cow, there's just not enough hours in the day? I'm racing, I'm running. Does it feel like that in November and December?
Nope.
Not really. What a great time to plan your lead gen touches for the year. What an incredible time to work on your business. By the way, is that income producing work? Absolutely. Totally. Completely. We have one agent who I know spent the month of December right into the first part of January boxing, mailing, sorting, all her birthday cards, all her anniversary cards, all of her 4 client touches that go out in the mail at Valentine's Day. Literally, I mean, we were both getting pictures from her.
Yeah,
she was sending us pictures of everything, and it's all done. The entire year is done. And sitting there, all she has to do is drop in the mail or do the drop-offs, whichever, you know, each thing is tailored for. By the way, it's all paid for as well, because it was in the budget and planned for, so that it was all already paid for at the time. Smart, huh? Planning.
Well, and the funny part is I can't tell you how many agents have come in and asked, you know, how do you build your database? Because I'm still sitting, last year we were about 90%. Before that, I've always been about 95% referrals for my business. And everybody always asks that. And when I tell them, they look at me like, you're holding something back. It's not sexy. There's nothing sexy about it. You're doing the same things year over year. You're switching them up. I mean, we'll do a mailer where we're incorporating our core advocates and saying, here's whatever off carpet cleaning or something like that. But it doesn't change. I've been in business now 7 years. I've been doing this for 5.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't change.
Well, Tony DeCello, you might know who Tony DeCello is, Diana Kokoska's husband, but he really is brilliant in his own mind, in his own right as well. He said one time, and I actually heard this, the trip that I went on to Masterminds when I moved my license to Keller Williams, and poor Allison got her first dose of trying to do travel arrangements for Jennifer Toomer. It's amazing that she wanted me here. Tony said he stood up in this mastermind with Gary Keller. We're in a room of about 100, 150 people. They had to like sneak me in because I didn't quite have the volume to warrant being in that room. And he said, you know what? This is the most boring job you will ever do. Because you literally do the same thing over and over and over every day. When you're running it like a business. Now, the activities that, or the results that show up, that's where the creativity piece, when you're going, oh man, this is a problem I've never seen, I got to use my solution-based skills and figure out a way to tackle it. That's when that comes in. So I want to keep talking about the message. You can map out the entire year. Guys, there are so many people around you in this building that are doing so many cool and fun things. Just go ask. What are you doing? What's working for you? What calls are you making? Steal it with permission, then plus it and give it back. Take it, make it yours, add to it, and then go back and say, hey, I added this. If you want to use this, this might help you too. That's what we do that moves us forward in this lead generation thing. I'm curious, from those of you that were calling in the last 2 days really purposefully, what scripts were you guys using? And I know everybody was calling different sorts of databases. You know, some were internet leads and some were others. But what kind of scripts were you guys using? Yeah.
I'm using the Mike Ferry scripts, actually.
Okay. You want to throw one out just so everybody can
Sure. On the spot.
put you on the spot? You're a veteran now. You've been here more than 2 days.
All right, so, I'm calling on expired, so I'm asking them, this is Justin Bell of Keller Williams, and I'd like to know when you plan on hiring the right agent to sell your home.
Just leave it
And
right
then
in.
just enter into the conversation from that.
Absolutely.
And then Mike Keene, you guys should get Mike Keene here. He's my accountability partner in it, and he gave me 3 pointers today, and the results were amazing. So that guy should be teaching that kind of classes, like just to put it out there.
Let's make that happen. Hey, no, you're absolutely right. I love to listen to Michael King on the phone. If you want to shadow a great lead generator, if you want to say, I'm going to take a day and I'm going to shadow somebody and listen for 45 minutes to an hour, number one, you can come pop into the 66-day challenge tomorrow because he's here and join that. Number two, see if you can schedule a time to listen. He is absolutely amazing on the phone. He connects, he captures, he's on script, he's on point. It's phenomenal.
And he's willing to help. He's always willing to offer.
Yeah. Such a huge heart, right? Just such a gracious, yes, go
I
ahead.
have to share a funny story about him because this morning this happened. He uses that script, that exact script, Michael King, like wanting to know when you plan to hire the right agent to sell your home. He has the pauses, he has everything, he's perfect, the tie downs are great. The lady he's talking to said, well, my husband is the agent who listed our home. We were laughing.
You know what's great about that is
Yeah.
he kept the person on the phone for another
He
3
did.
minutes.
Oh, I bet he did.
He
So I mean,
just
he was still trying
laughed
to convert the sale. That's
and then
pretty funny.
converted it to, can you tell me about it? I have a lot of buyers in that area. Is there a way I can get in touch with your husband? He then hung up, called the husband to talk about the house, the list price for buyers, but it was
Is he bringing up the Keller Williams?
it was,
He probably will. He's so focused on his profit share right now, it's crazy. I bet you're right.
it was just funny, and I just bring that up because, we're on the phone, we're getting no, we're talking about scripts, and it was just a lighthearted moment to just crack up. We were laughing, and I loved that he, like Justin said, kept her on the phone, turned it into a positive, how can I make this a win, and then called her husband to follow up. And
That's
hopefully
awesome.
Found a house for his buyers.
Well, and there's definitely that. We talked about that a couple weeks ago, but yeah, that's where you find inventory right now, is off the market. Because there's nothing on the market. Let's talk about expireds for a minute. I mean, guys, I really am going to challenge you if you're going through expireds. Well, before I go there, and I'm just kind of trying to give you some ideas, okay? This is what some people are doing in the building that's working. We have one agent who is very specifically calling, and I don't know if she used Red X or what she used to get the phone numbers, but she is calling surrounding neighborhoods from every listing she's had over the last year. They are absolute cold calls. They are a very low conversion rate. But what is her goal in those calls, do you think? You are good at this. You should teach. You should be on staff. You're exactly right, right? She's getting people in her database. Guess what has happened 4 months later? She now has 2 listings from those calls. Which, of course, sold, like that, because they do. It's a lot of calls, but 2 listings, is it worth it? Do the math on the average commission and sales price. I know some people have gone and got lists from Motznick. That's still out there. If you go, gosh, I have no more numbers, I have nothing left to call, I can't call my database again because I just called them all, yesterday, Motznick is a great resource.
Something I did with them is that you can filter out who you want from that. I filtered out people that have been in their home more than 7 years, because that's a fairly good number. I think, if they've been in there 7 years, there's a chance there that might be a pretty, better than just somebody that moved in yesterday.
Yep. I learned that from Kristen Cole probably 6 years ago. In the borough specifically, the borough actually does it. Here, Motznick is a source that you can go and buy databases and numbers and addresses from. But what she did was she ran, at the time, I don't remember the year because this was several years ago, she ran deeds of trust that were recorded prior to, like 5 years prior, so that showed what? The seller had equity. So they hadn't refinanced it, because if they had refinanced it, what would be recorded? Another deed of trust. So she also was looking in valuations above, this is out in the valley, $250,000. She was trying to control her average purchase price, or average sales price, and was able to get mailing list, database, and go through that. You can do that as well. It's very easy to get a hold of Motznick. It costs a few bucks. It's extremely it's not prohibitive. What's the opposite of that? Thank you. Wow. Cost effective.
I think I spent $150 for 860 names.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So my point is if you think you're at a wall, you're not. You're just at a hurdle. All you got to do is ask some people around you for some things to do. So we talked about time blocking. We talked about protecting your time. We talked about having the message and the who. What else happens to make this work? Set up your environment. Get the right environment, right? I'm going to pick on you again because I just love the story. You guys have heard it before. When Linwood was on this second floor office that was right at the end of this hallway, anybody that knows Linwood knows he's a high eye. He absolutely ended up having to put not just a red curtain, but a red heavy material curtain because he could see the shadows and would want to come out and talk to people. And when he didn't have the curtain, he saw everybody walking in, and of course, hey, how's it going? Oh gosh, I heard about your kid, and what's going on? You got that deal? And the next thing you know, I do that pretty well. I've known you for a long time. Well, yesterday he had to get his eye fix on, so he came in here. I was watching it. It was just like, what? The study of behavior is so awesome. Linwood walks in the room, and first he has to go say hi to Allison, get his hug. He didn't hug you then, but I think they pounded it out. I don't want to know anything more. I had to say Shayna, get his hug. I had to see me get his hug, and I was like, okay, now he's got. I'm watching. I'm like, he's got his fix. Yep, now he's leaving and he's on the phone. There it was. But you have to protect, you have to make your environment conducive to that. So if you have things that are distracting you, what's going to happen?
You're gonna change.
I mean, have you ever tried to, like, for example, has anybody ever worked from home, not worked in the office?
I know.
Yeah, I do it a couple mornings, every once in a while I'll work from home. It is amazing how I have this drive to do laundry. I hate to do laundry. My bedroom has a whole pile of dirty clothes in it right now that I need to do. But given lead generating or scrubbing my kitchen sink, it's amazing that I really need to go unload the dishwasher. Did anybody else ever struggle with that? You will get pulled off task if your environment is not conducive to productivity. You absolutely will. And it's no criticism on our character, it's just human nature. You don't try and correct it, you're not gonna. You're not going to. The only thing you can do is remove that distraction and set it up so that you can. Have you ever seen the film on my office side light? I hate that film. I hate it. I despise that film. I can't stand it. I don't know if I can say that strongly enough. And it has to be there because it's distracting. Because I can be in an appointment looking at Sheena and see the 10 people walking by, waving, saying hi, all good things, nothing wrong with that, or staring at me, waiting for me to look, and when I finally look, this is what they do. You can send me a text. Tell me
Would.
how are you.
The text thing, she doesn't always text you right back. So.
Eventually, let me get there. So I had to put it up there in order to protect the environment. And actually, I'm pretty sure Allison just did it one day. It just said, I'm done listening to her whine about this. We're going to protect it. So those are the things you do to help yourself be effective. Just understand your weaknesses, which we all have them. It's not unique to anybody. And so build a barrier. And it kind of goes back to protecting the time, but this is more protecting your activity. Yes, go ahead.
Well, you said it at the end, know your weaknesses, because when I work with some different teams, you know, this person wants to enter all their notes on the computer, but this person wants to enter all their notes, they want to handwrite them. And it's so funny to watch the arguments, because they'll try to convince each other over, who cares? Like,
Or the notes written.
Right, or standing up versus sitting down, or using a headset versus using the phone, or using, who cares?
Well,
Just
I
do
mean,
it.
You know, what does Gary Keller say about contact management systems? What is the best contact management system? The one you'll use. Yeah, I don't care if it's a box of 3x5 cards, or if it's eEdge, or if it's Tab Producer, or HOS. I truly am not invested. I mean, I have my thoughts on which ones offer the most value. But the truth is, the best one is the one you'll use, right? So there's no, you know, John Rodriguez, you gotta love that kid. You know, John does not do well in lead generating in a closed environment with a door by himself. We're gonna bill John for the carpet replacement because he's burned a path all around the circle of the 5th floor. That's how he lead generates. You see him pass by your office, if you're on the 5th floor, over, and he doesn't stop us. I mean, you know, he says, hey, on the phone, working a deal, calling a client, constantly. Is anybody else seeing it besides me?
He tried to sequester him in his own office. It didn't work. He escapes.
Yeah,
we
took him out of his office.
I was like, why are you putting him in his own office? He's not gonna stay.
Stay in the kennel.
You have to lock the door from the outside.
We tried to kill him up, it didn't work. But no, he couldn't, he needed to be out of that room with all the people because he is on the phone all the time. Great. And so now he's just let loose, and it's just what he does. But guess what? Does it work for him?
Yep.
Yeah. Top producing team member last year. Got a nice big old fat check a few weeks ago. It works for him. So the best system is the one you use. And that's the biggest thing. It's not a right or wrong. Remember the creativity models diagram? The model is the base of the triangle and the creativity is the top. If you have the model, which is time block, protect your time, know your message, plan and prepare, know who you're calling, build the environment that works, you can do it how you want. That's where the creativity part comes in. If I took a poll of everybody in this room, I would guarantee you that who you're calling is different than each other. Dave does business to business, I mean literally shoe leather to the pavement, going to businesses, introducing himself, trying to, is anybody else in the room doing that? And it's not a judgment if you're not, I'm just saying, you do that, you do it well. Jen operates almost strictly on database. We've got Boomtown in here, we've got radio in here, we've got all these different types of lead generation. There's no right or wrong, it's just, are you doing it? The thing is the people that are doing it at a high level are succeeding really, really well. Any other thoughts or comments as we kind of wind it down? Is that Kool-Aid you're drinking in the back?
Yes. All the time.
Yes, sir.
I think an important thing about this whole thing is to gauge your attitude about it. If you find yourself like, oh, man, this is getting hard, the phone's getting heavy, I don't really feel like doing lead gen anymore. You need to drink a little Keller Williams Kool-Aid, you need to come to this meeting and read something. You've got to protect that motivation, the mindset.
Well, and I'm glad you said that because that's absolutely true. When we're starting the 66-day challenge, what's the first thing, all of you little new team members, that we do in the morning?
Affirmation.
An affirmation to set the tone. I know Dimick team starts every morning with quick gratitude, affirmation around the room. Get your mind in the right place. The last piece, and I know we're out of time, but I can't believe I failed to mention it. To close the loop, protect, time block, protect your time, know your message, know who you're talking to, know what you're saying, create your environment, mindset, and the last loop is accountability. That's what closes it up. And you mentioned it. Having to look someone in the eye and say, yes, I did, no, I didn't. And guys, select an accountability partner with care. Your best friend is not the person you want to be your accountability partner. They're going to let you off the hook a lot easier. You got to find somebody that's going to be hard for you to disappoint, hard for you to look them in the eye. Best illustration I can give, and I'll close with this. Many of you guys know Bruce Hardy. Some of you have heard this story before, some of you haven't. Bruce Hardy is our regional director and had a huge mega agent team in Spokane. He owns Spokane Market Center. And years ago, he was being coached by Gary Keller. So they had their 15-minute phone call once a week. And he tells the story of picking up the phone and, looking forward. I mean, would you not be looking forward to that call? I mean, you get to coach with Gary Keller. He gets the call. Gary says, tell me your contacts. He says, well, I fell really short. I only got this much done. And Gary said, great, talk to you next week. Click. He tried to call back. We got disconnected. No, we didn't. Click. That's accountability at a really high level. Now, is Gary a jerk for saying that to him? No, he's helping him succeed. Anybody raised a child in this room? The biggest exercises of love feel awful and look ugly because it's punishment and discipline. It's not fun. I never understood that. My parents used to tell me that, and now I get it. It's not fun. It's not fun to enact consequences or to say, you are accountable for doing this. And yet, I don't know about you guys, but I would prefer that my children not be mediocre. So I'm going to say the hard thing, right? As hard as it, or do the hard thing. It's the same thing in your business. Find someone that doesn't want you to be mediocre. That's your accountability partner. Any ahas or thoughts before everybody goes and hits the phones, if they haven't already? No ahas? You guys are quiet today. Okay, get out of here. It's lunchtime.